Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bexar County Court at Law Number 6 in the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. I'm Judge Wayne Christian. Our DAs for the day are Ross Lewis and Eddie Villarreal. And we have pleas today. And let's go down the pleas. I've got cause 654.
Your Honor, can I give them the spiel first?
You can if you'd like to.
Please, and then you can go from there. What I'm going to ask is anybody who is receiving a deferred adjudication or a probation, please inform the judge at the time of the plea whether you live out of county or out of state. That way he knows what he needs to do at that moment in time so that they can either transfer your probation or not. The other thing is at the bottom where there is a chat, I have put a phone number for the probation department. If you receive probation or deferred adjudication, and you should be contacted within 48 hours. If they do not contact you, you must call them. And I would say Tuesday morning, they have not called, text, or emailed you to make arrangements for your orientation. You call this number. 210-335-7446. If you do not get in contact with them and they have not contacted you, it's a possibility that there will be a warrant issued for your arrest. Thank you, Judge. And I will put
this is a docket of all cases set for today. Let's see where we are. Cause number 654238, State of Texas versus Tyree Hunt. Represented by, and Lee couldn't make it, Shayla Sanchez. Correct, Shayla?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Are y'all ready to proceed?
We are ready, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next case, cause 669870, State of Texas versus Nicholas Benavides, represented by Mr. Leslie Herbst. Mr. Herbst, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, we're ready to proceed.
Thank you. Next case, 612916, State of Texas versus Keely Taylor, represented by Mr. Joseph Lassen. Mr. Lassen, are you ready to proceed?
Your Honor, he is running late. He's in a felony.
Okay. Next case, 671711, State of Texas versus Aaron Lopez, represented by Mr. Joseph Stateson. Mr. Stateson, are you ready to proceed?
Yes.
Thank you. Next case, 661071, State of Texas versus Richard Maldonado, represented by Miss Linda Corley. Miss Corley, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cause 671269, State of Texas versus Ricardo Casanova, represented by Mr. Keith Engelkey. Is Mr. Engelkey with us today?
Your Honor, he is running late and the defendant is that elderly gentleman. I believe he's on his way to his daughter's house.
Okay, I got you. And we have cause 642197 and 645710, State of Texas versus Alfredo Hernandez, represented by Mr. Pat Montgomery. Mr. Montgomery, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir, I am.
Thank you. Next case, 668818, State of Texas versus Andrew De Leon, represented by Ms. Sharon Thorne. Ms. Thorne, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, we're ready and he's
Thank
present.
you. Next case, 673441, State of Texas versus Jacob Porter, represented by Mr. Flavio Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez, are you ready to proceed?
We're ready, Judge.
Thank you. Next case, cause 634049, State of Texas versus Laurie Perez, represented by Mr. George Sharman. Mr. Sharman, ready to proceed?
I'm ready. My client is currently filling out the papers. She should send them in.
No problem. As soon as Pat gets them, she'll send them to me and you'll be on the next batting order. And Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion, plea and probation agreement. State of Texas versus Darrell Wilson, cause 660262, represented by Miss Angela Blake. Miss Blake, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, good to go. Our batting order today is going to be Mr. Wilson, Mr. Hunt, Mr. Benavides, Mr. Porter, and Mr. Lopez on the first batch. It's cause 660262, State of Texas versus Darrell Wilson, represented by Miss Angela Blake. This is a Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion, plea and probation agreement. The first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference that purports to have both Mr. Wilson's and Ms. Blake's signatures on it. In fact, Mr. Wilson, is this your signature on this document, sir? And I'm looking for Mr. Wilson.
He's here. He's just trying to figure out how to unmute.
I think your microphone's turned off, Mr. Wilson. I'm glad other people do that.
Now,
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Is this your
All right.
signature,
Good
sir?
morning. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. And Ms. Blake, as attorney for Mr. Wilson, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Wilson, the next document I have is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on the back of this document also?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. By signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Blake, have you had enough time to go over this case with your client? And in your opinion, is Mr. Wilson mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Wilson, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Blake, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see what we're doing. Mr. Wilson, in clause 660262, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, sir?
No
And what do you
contest.
think? No contest, I believe. See what your paperwork says. Guilty. Doesn't matter to me. Ms. Blake, you want to plead guilty or no contest?
No contest, Your Honor.
Dave, is that okay with you?
That's okay, Judge.
All right. No contest it is. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I accept your plea and hold it in abeyance. Place you on 1 year, Bear County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion, assessing a $1,000 all-inclusive Veterans Treatment Court fee. 48 hours of community service, probating all that based on your military service. DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel. 6 months Smart Start Mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day. Outpatient drug treatment with either the Veterans Administration or a designated VTC provider. No restitution due in this case. Requiring your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court. Issue judge's bond. Defendant to be supervised by CSCD and VTC staff. At this time, Mr. Wilson, I'm looking at a document entitled Track 1 Pretrial Intervention, which is a contract by and between you and your attorney and the Bear County Criminal District Attorney's Office. Said contract setting out all the requirements and prerequisites of your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Blake, as attorney, Mr. Wilson, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Villarreal, as the Assistant Criminal District Attorney assigned to this case, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge. Yes.
Okay. Think that got it. What did you do in the military, Mr. Wilson?
Was worked on logistics, pretty much sent stuff where it needed to go. So
And-
like UPS,
For the Army or who?
the Army.
Our Army or somebody else's Army?
Oh, our Army. I couldn't do nobody else's.
Did you go to the war?
Yeah, I went to Iraq.
All right. Thanks for your service, sir. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Wilson?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing concluded.
You're going to get a call, Mr. Wilson, from Ron sometime this afternoon and give you a briefing on exactly what you need to do, okay?
All right, sir.
Thanks for your service. Thanks, Ms. Blake. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. You have a good day.
Okay, now, this is going to be cause 654238, State of Texas versus Tyree D. Hunt, represented by Ms. Shayla Sanchez. Cause 669870, State of Texas versus Nicholas I. Benavides, represented by Mr. Leslie Herbst. Cause number 673441, State of Texas versus Jacob D. Porter, represented by Mr. Flavio Hernandez. And cause number 671711, State of Texas versus Aaron N. Lopez, represented by Mr. Joseph Stateson. First document I need each of you to identify your signatures on is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. In fact, Mr. Hunt, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Sanchez, as attorney for Mr. Hunt, is this also your signature on this document?
It is not my signature, Your Honor. It's Ms. Cutter's signature.
Oh, can you identify Ms. Cutter's signature for me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all good. Mr. Benavides, in clause 669870, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank Thank you. And Mr. Herbst, as attorney for Mr. Benavides, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Thank you. Mr. Porter, in clause 673441, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Hernandez, as attorney for Mr. Porter, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez, in clause 671711, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. And Mr. Stateson, as attorney for Mr. Lopez, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signatures on the back. Effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Hunt, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Benavides, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Porter, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Lopez, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Hunt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Benavides?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Porter?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Lopez?
Yes, sir, it is.
Ms. Sanchez and your trial partner, Ms. Cutter, have either or both of you had the ability to go over this case with Mr. Hunt, and in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor, we both have, and yes, in my opinion, he is mentally competent to proceed.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Benavides, Mr. Herbst.
Yes, I've gone over the case with him and I believe he's competent.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Porter, Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Lopez, Mr. Stateson.
I have, and he is.
Okay, Mr. Hunt, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Benavides.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Porter.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Lopez.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. As attorney for Mr. Hunt, Ms. Sanchez, has the state fully complied with discovery for you?
Yes, Your Honor, they have.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Herbst, as attorney for Mr. Benavides.
Yes, they have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Hernandez, as attorney for Mr. Porter.
Yes, Your Honor, they have.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Stateson, as attorney for Mr. Lopez.
They have, Your Honor.
Okay. Now we're getting into the good stuff. Let's see. State, you got a motion on Mr. Hunt's case, it would appear.
Yes, Judge. We will be waiving and abandoning count 1 and proceeding on count 2 for obstruction of a highway.
It
Count one
started out life as a DWI first, is that correct?
I believe so, Judge.
And it already has the 2 paragraphs, one for DWI and one for obstruction. You don't have to add them?
Let's see here. I'm checking right now.
Do we know?
I'm checking right now. I think it didn't, but I think I already sent the obstruction packet and it already added it in. So if it is not, I will officially make the motion to add a count 2 and we will proceed with that.
Okay. State's motion to add a paragraph 2 alleging obstruction of a highway, no objection from the defense is granted. State then waiving paragraph 1 alleging DWI and proceeding on paragraph 2 alleging obstruction, no objection from the defense is granted. And therefore, Mr. Hunt, to the charge of obstruction of a highway, how do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Hunt, please?
Yes, there is, Judge. It is going to be an $850 fine, court costs, 16 months deferred adjudication, 48 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And Ms. Sanchez, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, except ADA Galloway had agreed to fully probate the 48 hours of community service.
State, is that true?
Let me check real quick.
Mr. Hunt, are you a military veteran?
Yes, sir.
What did you do in the military, sir?
92 Fox, Your Honor. Fielder. But you know, we do it all, kind of drive, church, everything.
And so is that Army or what service were you in?
United States Army, yes, sir. Fort
Did
Campbell.
you go to the war?
No, sir. My unit had just got back from it, so no.
And were you in the 101st or some other unit over there?
101, 101.
Okay,
101.
thanks for your service, sir. We're going to probate
Yes,
his
sir, thank
community service hours based on military service. So we're good on that. And stand by, let me do some writing here. Okay, Ms. Sanchez, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hunt, in cause 654-238, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 16 months deferred adjudication probation, assess an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, probating all those based on your military service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, community alliance for traffic safety, new intervention program, Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 8 months. And this one you'll really like, recalling all pretrial services, bond conditions, and warrants, because I think you're still hot on my computer. Does that sound right?
I hope
Yes, Your
not,
Honor.
Your Honor.
Yes, I think there was still some issues going on. Thank you.
Okay. Well, anyway, you're squeaky clean. Let's put it this way. Regardless what it is now, by tomorrow it'll be cleaned up. But today you might want to drive carefully.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further from the state or the defense of Mr. Hunt?
Nothing further from defense.
Mr. Hunt, are you already on a Smart Start mobile at 4 blows a day?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
All right. Well done. Okay. Y'all are dismissed. Thanks for your help.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's talk about Mr. Benavides. Stand by a minute and see what we're doing on Mr. Benavides. I got it. Mr. Benavides, in cause 669-870 to the charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon. How do you speak to that? How do you plead, sir?
Guilty, sir.
Your Honor, we've
No
had.
contest is on my paperwork. Court accepts the plea of no contest with the defense approval. Is that okay?
No contest.
Yes, yes, Your Honor, okay.
Got it. Is there an agreement for Mr. Benavides?
Yes, Your Honor, there is. It'll be a $250 fine. Court costs, 8 months deferred adjudication, 36 hours community service, and a gun safety course.
What are we doing with this firearm? I assume there's a firearm in here somewhere?
It did not belong to him, so it will be, I'm assuming, returned to the rightful owner as per SAPD.
Who would lend Mr. Benavides a firearm? What gullible person would that be? That was a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I just say weapon to be returned to lawful owner, something like that.
That would work though.
Who owns this gun, Mr. Benavides?
I have no idea, sir.
Oh, is it stolen? Is that what we're looking at?
I bought it off of somebody.
I understand, but state, you're saying it's reported stolen?
I believe so. I believe that's what the report indicated.
All right, all good. Okay, let's see if we get this one. Mr. Benavides, in cause 669-870. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of unlawfully carrying a handgun. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 8 months, deferred adjudication probation. It says a $250 fine plus court cost, 36 hours of community service, and a gun safety course. And the weapon is going to be returned to its lawful owner because apparently it was reported stolen somewhere down the line. And yeah.
Does Mr. Benavides have the option of purchasing his community service hours?
We have a program where he can donate voluntarily $10 per hour for the 36 hours. And we have about half a dozen different entities, primarily special operations, wounded warriors, and family violence prevention services. And then Pat can get a list, or his probation officer will have a list of those.
Very good, Your Honor. Thank you.
You bet. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Benavides?
Nothing from the state.
All right. No more gunfighting, Mr. Benavides. Lay low.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see what we're doing, Mr. Porter.
So 8 months.
Will we be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is, hang on, I'm looking for you on my list. Got it. Okay, so this case starts out as a DWI with blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. And state, I think you have a motion to waive that. Does that sound right?
I got cut off, Judge. Which case was this?
This is Jacob Porter, 673-441. Starts out as a DWI greater than 1.5.
Yes, Judge. Jacob Porter, that's mine. It looks like we're not waiving the BAC enhancement.
Oh, I see. Okay. I did misread it. I'm sorry. Okay, Mr. Porter, and cause 673-441, the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
And Pat, the paperwork administratively needs to be corrected on the defendant's waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonitions. The offense is listed as DWI and it needs to be listed as DWI greater than 0.15.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there an agreement in Mr. Porter's case?
There is, Judge. It's for a $500 fine plus court costs. It's 12 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 12 months, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, and SSM for half the term.
Mr. Porter, have you already got a Smart Start mobile device?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let me double check this. Yep. Okay, Mr. Porter, and cause 673-441, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. I find you guilty. I says 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $500 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, and Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Porter?
No, Your Honor.
And recall all pretrial bond conditions and possible warrants that might still be lurking out there. All right, we're good.
Does he need to stay for probation or no?
No, he does not. Pat just,
Okay.
probation theoretically in a perfect world, we'll be calling him in the next 48 hours or so. If that doesn't happen, Pat gave you the number. Do you need the number again?
No, I got it. I'll text it to him again.
Call it the panic number. When they don't contact you, you gotta call them. All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Mario.
Judge.
All right. Thank
You're
you.
excused, Mr. Porter.
Okay, let's see what we're doing with Mr. Lopez. Okay, Mr. Lopez and cause 671711 to the charge of assault, bodily injury, married. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
An agreement for Mr. Lopez.
Yes, Judge, there is. It's for a $500 fine plus court costs, 12 months deferred adjudication, no firearms, affirmative finding of family violence, BIP, 48 hours of community service, and a no contact order with Kyra Stevens.
And Mr. Lopez, who is Kyra Stevens to you? Is that a former girlfriend or still a girlfriend? What's going on with that?
Former.
Former? And we don't have any interest. Do you have any children together?
2 stepkids.
All right, but they're not your children?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's see if we get this one right. Mr. Lopez, and cause 671711, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of assault, bodily injury, married. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 1 year, deferred adjudication probation, assess a $500 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, BIPP course, or do you have no firearms, possession, purchase, or use? Affirmative finding of family violence and no contact with Kyra Stevens. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Lopez?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
If you could just allow Mr. Lopez to purchase the community service hours, nothing further, Your Honor.
Sure. All right. No problem with that. Thank you, Mr. Statesman. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a good one.
Okay, do I have Mr. Sharman's paperwork? I just need to pull up and print. Pat, have you sent Mr. Sharman's paperwork over?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, you need to sign it, Your Honor, and then I can send it back.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Let's do that.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, done deal. Take a 2-minute break while we wait for Ms. Benavides to send me the docs.
And Mr. Lesson has come in, Your Honor. And Mr. Casanova is working on his paperwork. They're supposed to be going into a breakout room. Mr. Casanova, there should be a dot that says join breakout room. You need to go in there. Your attorney's going to go over that paperwork with you so that you can fill it.
Pat, you got everything from us that you needed, right? For Taylor Keela?
Yes, we've
Legal.
got everything and you should be in the next batch.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the, sorry about the delay. I got stuck in.
No. We still had other people, so you're fine.
Thank you.
We had enough in here to everybody get in here, so we have time.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Ross and Eddie, if y'all will stay afterwards so I can talk about the trials, please.
Yes, ma'am, we'll do.
Thank you.
Okay, back on the record. Our next batch is going to consist of cause 634049, State of Texas versus Lori C. Perez, represented by Mr. George Sharman. Mr. Sharman, are you ready to proceed?
We're ready, Judge.
Ms. Thorne, are you still ready to proceed on Mr. De Leon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lassen, are you still ready to proceed on Mr. Taylor? Maybe.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And I've got Mr. Corley, are you ready to proceed on Mr. Maldonado? We still got Linda?
Yes, I am, Judge.
And we've got Mr. Montgomery and Mr. Hernandez.
We're here, Judge. We're ready.
634049, State of Texas versus Lori C. Perez, represented by Mr. George Sharman. 668818, State of Texas versus Andrew De Leon, represented by Ms. Sharon Thorne. Cause 612916, State of Texas versus Keely Taylor, represented by Mr. Joseph Lassen. Cause number 661071, excuse me. State of Texas versus Richard A. Maldonado, represented by Ms. Linda Corley. And cause 642197 and 645710. State of Texas versus Alfredo Hernandez, represented by Mr. Pat Montgomery. And my understanding is cause 642198 will be a TIC on one of those cases. Is that correct, Mr. Montgomery? Pat, you still with us?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Which case is it going to be TIC'd on? Do you know?
Judge, it's going to be 642198.
197?
Oh, no, I have 198 here.
Let's see what the correct number is. Hang on.
Because we do have 642197 as well as 642198, both the salt bottle.
198 is the case that's going to be TIC'd. And my understanding from talking to you is that cause number 642198 will be TIC'd on the plea on cause 642197. Does that sound right?
Yes, Judge.
All right.
That's
Great.
correct, Your Honor.
We're good. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference that purports to have both the attorney and the defendant's signature on it. In fact, Ms. Perez, in cause 634049, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is.
And Mr. Sharman, as attorney for Ms. Perez, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. De Leon, in cause 668818, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Where'd he go?
De Leon, can you hear me, sir? He's kind of frozen for some reason. I'm not sure what that means.
Don't know what. Mr. De Leon? Are you frozen? You need to answer the judge. I don't know what happened. I see him.
You see him?
He's lost in the Bermuda Triangle of County Court 6 Zoom land.
I can see him.
And he's not muted.
Sharon, can you call him on a cell phone?
I'm texting him right now, Your Honor.
And tell him to sign out and sign back in, perhaps, maybe?
There he goes. He's back.
Okay.
Mr. De Leon, can you hear us, sir? Mr. De Leon, can you hear me?
He may have his sound low. You might check and tell him to check his volume.
He's still moving.
Yeah, he's there.
Mr. De Leon, can you hear me? I cannot hear you.
I don't think he can hear, Judge. I think I bet you he has his volume off on the phone.
I just texted him. He's trying to do something now.
Mr. De Leon, can you hear us? Mr. De Leon?
Sharon, can you get him on a cell phone?
I'm texting him on the cell phone right now. He's not responding to the cell phone.
Y'all out of the batting order right now. We'll pick you up at the end after we figure out the sound part of it. Okay.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Okay. Connected.
Is it Miss Taylor or Mr. Taylor? I apologize. Keely could go either way. I'm looking for the picture.
It's Miss Taylor, Your Honor.
It's Miss.
Miss Taylor, is this your signature on this document in cause 612916?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Lassen, as attorney for Miss Taylor, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Maldonado, is this your signature on this document in cause 661071?
Unmute.
Mr. Maldonado, your microphone is still turned off. There you go.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. And Ms. Corley, as attorney for Mr. Maldonado, is this also your signature on this document?
It is.
You. Mr. Hernandez, I have two documents for you, file 642-197 and 645-710. Is this your signature on this document on each of these cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Montgomery, as attorney for Mr. Hernandez, is this your signature on both of these documents, one in cause 642-197 and one in cause 645-710 as attorney for Mr. Hernandez?
It is, Judge Christian.
All good, thanks. Okay, the next document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. And in fact, Ms. Perez, is this your signature on this document in cause 634-049?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Thank you. And Ms. Taylor, is this your signature on this document in cause 612-916?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Maldonado, is this your signature on this document in cause 661-071?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Hernandez, is this your signature on each document, one for each case, in cause 642-197 and 645-710?
Yes, Your Honor.
By signing these documents, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety? If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on these documents. Is that correct, Ms. Perez?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Is that correct, Ms. Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Maldonado?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Hernandez, in both cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Sharman, as attorney for Ms. Perez, have you had enough time to go over this case with her? And in your opinion, is she mentally competent?
Yes to both, Judge.
Same question for Mr. Lassen as attorney for Ms. Taylor.
Yes to both, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Corley as attorney for Mr. Maldonado.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Montgomery as attorney for Mr. Hernandez in both cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Perez, are you a United States citizen?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor, same question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Maldonado, same question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez, same question in both cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Sherman, as attorney for Ms. Perez, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Lassen as attorney for Ms. Taylor.
Yes, Your Honor, they have.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Corley as attorney for Mr. Maldonado.
Judge, I received everything on the attached index.
Thank you. And same question for Mr. Montgomery as attorney for Mr. Hernandez in both cases.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see what we're doing with Ms. Perez here. And state, do you have a motion on this case or does it stay a greater than 1-5?
No motion here, Judge. It'll stay.
Okay. Ms. Perez, in class 634-049 to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
And is there an agreement for Ms. Perez?
Yes, Judge. The agreement is for an $800 fine plus court costs plus 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 2 years, plus 80 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CATSNP, random UAs, Smart Start Mobile for half the term. And this case is to run concurrent with cause number 2021 CR 2421.
Mr. Sharman, what kind of case is that?
Well, the felony case, yes, it's related.
It's not a felony DWI, it's just some other kind of case?
Well, it's related, yes.
All right. Okay, make sure I get this correct. Ms. Perez, in clause 634-049, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. I find you guilty. I assess 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 2 years. Assess an $800 fine plus court cost, 80 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, regular urinalysis test, Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day, home interlock for half the term, which is 1 year. This case to run concurrent with 2021 CR 2421. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Perez?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Nothing from the,
We're going to recall any or all pretrial services, bond conditions, and warrants that may be out there. Probably none. All right. Mr. Perez, thank you, Mr. Sharman. Y'all are excused.
Judge.
And let's see what we're doing with Miss Taylor. Okay. Miss Taylor, and cause 612916 to the charge of failure to stop and give information. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest, Your Honor.
Agreement for Miss Taylor.
Yes, Your Honor, there is. It'll be a $200 fine, court costs, 8 months deferred adjudication, 36 hours community service, driver safety course, and restitution, if any, to Maria Alejandra Ayala.
And Mr. Lars Lassen, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Your Honor, the email was actually 24 hours community service.
Okay by me, state. Can we make it 24?
That's fine, Judge.
All right. Okay, make sure I get it all. Ms. Taylor, in cause 612916, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of failure to stop and give information. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 8 months, deferred adjudication and probation. He says a $200 fine plus court costs, 24 hours of community service, driver's safety course for the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety, and restitution, if any, to Maria Alejandra Ayala. If restitution becomes an issue and they come back and say, we think Ms. Taylor owes us $2.5 million, I guess at that time, Mr. Lassen, that would be a good time to have a restitution hearing.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Taylor?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state.
Good luck, Ms. Lassen, excuse me, Mr. Lassen and Ms. Taylor. Y'all right here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see what we're doing with Mr. Maldonado. And state, you got a motion on this one for sure.
Yes, Judge, we do. The state moves to waive the second enhancement and proceed on DWI first.
Any objections to that, Ms. Corley?
Absolutely none, Judge.
Imagine not. Okay. No objection from the defense, that will be granted. Mr. Maldonado to the charge of driving while intoxicated. First offense, how do you plead, sir?
No contest.
And is there an agreement for Mr. Maldonado?
Yes, Judge, it's for a $500 fine, 6 months probated for 12 months, plus court costs, 36 hours of community service, DWI intervention, DIP, CatSnip, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
That is our agreement, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Maldonado, on cause 661071, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated. First offense, I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bexar County Jail. Committed for 1 year, a $500 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, DWI intervention, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months. And that's what I got. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Maldonado?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Judge, since he is doing the Smart Start Mobile, he does have a ignition interlock requirement on his driver's license. Can I draft an order to release that in order for him to get his valid driver's license back?
we can't change the law, but I've never really had anybody not allow us to get an occupational license or question whether it's a Smart Start Mobile or ignition interlock. I think technically by law, he's required to have an ignition interlock. But technically by law, he's required in this court to have a Smart Start Mobile. So any way you want to play it is okay with me, but I have never in, I don't know, 40 years of doing all this, had any question from DPS about what device an individual was using, as long as he was on a breath testing device. So you can do that lawyer stuff and tell me what we need to do, but that's the way it's going to be.
Very good, Judge. Thanks.
All right. You
May we be excused?
betcha.
Thank you. Mr. Maldonado, you can hit leave meeting.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we've got Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Montgomery. Mr. Hernandez, in clause 642-197, to the charge of assault, bodily injury, family. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Hernandez in 642-197?
Yes, Judge. The agreement is for a $700 fine plus court costs, 12 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 18 months, plus no firearms, an affirmative finding of family violence, BIPP, 48 hours of community service, no harmful or injurious contact order with Robert Jackson, and the state will take into consideration cause number 642198.
Mr. Montgomery, is that your understanding of the agreement in clause 642-197?
That's correct, Judge.
I'm assuming 642-197 is going to run concurrent with 645-710. Is that not everybody's understanding?
It is, Judge.
It is, Judge.
Who is Robert Jackson to Mr. Hernandez? This is like a friend or an acquaintance, or what's going on with all that? What was the relationship, if any?
Uncle-in-law.
Is what now? I'm sorry?
Uncle-in-law.
Uncle-in-law. All right. Okay, Mr. Hernandez, in clause 642-197, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of assault, bodily injury, family. Although I find you guilty, I assess 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 18 months, a $700 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, BIPP program, affirmative finding of family violence, no firearms, purchase, possession, or use, no contact, harmful or injurious with Robert Jackson. Taking into consideration clause 642-198, which is granted, this shall be dismissed. In this case, to run CC with 645-710. What did I miss, Mr. Montgomery?
Just the other case.
Hey, did I miss anything on this one?
Not on that one, Judge, just the DWI. We still have some conditions on that one.
Okay, clause 645-710. Let's see what we're doing.
The state has a motion to make on that one, Judge.
Go ahead, state, motion away.
Your Honor, we move to waive the 0.15 enhancement and proceed just on a DWI.
Defense insists upon it.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. Therefore, Mr. Hernandez, in clause 645-710 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Court accepts the plea of no contest. Is there an agreement for Mr. Hernandez in cause 645-710?
Yes, Judge, it's for a $700 fine plus court costs. Is 6 months probated for 18 months. WI education, victim impact panel, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
Mr. Montgomery, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, remember, everything's concurrent, fines, court costs, probation fees, all of that jazz,
Correct.
community service.
Okay, Mr. Hernandez, in cause 645-710. The court accepts our plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated. First offense, I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bear County Jail, probated for 18 months, a $700 fine plus court cost. How much community service do we have on this one? Missed that. Is there community service on this one or not? I don't see it.
Thought it was
On this one.
24 concurrent with the other case.
So the other case has 48. So let's make it 48 and it's going to run CC with the other one. Is that okay with everybody?
Doesn't make any difference, Judge.
Yes, Judge.
48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Programs, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 9 months. This case will run concurrent with 642-197. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Hernandez and 645-710?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Did we determine that Mr. Hernandez already has a Smart Start Mobile? We don't have to jump through hoops on that one?
I think he's already got alcohol monitoring. Am I correct, Mr. Hernandez?
Correct.
Are you on a Smart Start mobile device or what device are you on?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Sure. The device we use is one is hand carried. It's about the size of a big cell phone, and it's called a Smart Start Mobile, and you blow into it 4 times a day. Is that the device you have?
No, I'm sorry. I do not have a device like that.
All right. What device do you have?
I do not have a device. I'm sorry.
Okay. You need to get a Smart Start mobile device within 10 days of right now. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And your attorney will advise you on how to do all that, and probation will get you set up. Okay. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Hernandez?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Nothing from defense, Your Honor. Mr. Hernandez, call me if they don't call you.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Good to go on that. Did Sharon get Como back with her defendant?
I think he's here. Mr. DeLeon, can you unmute and let's see if we can start this over again?
Okay, I'm here.
Hey, welcome back. We had you in the Bermuda Triangle of County Court 6 Zoom, I think.
No.
All right, let's start over. This is cause number 668818, State of Texas versus Andrew DeLeon, represented by Ms. Sharon Thorne. The first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference, which purports to have signatures of both Mr. DeLeon and Ms. Thorne on it. In fact, Mr. DeLeon, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Ms. Thorne, as attorney for Mr. DeLeon, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. DeLeon, the next document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. By signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read the document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney, Ms. Thorne. So that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thorne, as attorney for Mr. DeLeon, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. DeLeon, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Ms. Thorne, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see what we're doing with Mr. DeLeon. Okay, Mr. DeLeon, to the charge of assault bodily injury. How do you plead, sir?
I plead. Well, I thought I had an agreement with the court
Not with the court.
You have to,
with the
for
state.
a year probation.
you have a plea, Mr. De Leon, you have to
State.
plead either guilty or no contest. And you and I discussed a no contest plea.
Okay.
Okay, yes. I'll go with the one I.
Mr. DeLeon, my understanding, you're pleading no contest with the charge of assault bodily injury. That sound right?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Is there an agreement for Mr. DeLeon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge. There is an agreement and it's going to be for a $400 fine, court costs, 1 year in the Bear County Jail, suspended and probated for a term of 1 year probation, 48 hours community service, the hostility management course, a no contact order and restitution, if any, to Jason Rapallo.
And Ms. Thorne, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, who teaches hostility management? Is this one of those CATS things or something else?
It's CATS, Judge.
All right, great. Okay, Mr. DeLeon. In cause 668818, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of assault bodily injury. I find you guilty. I assess 1 year in the Bear County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $400 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety hostility management course, where you have no contact with and pay restitution, if any, to Jason Rapello. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. DeLeon?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state.
Let Mr. DeLeon. Thank you, Ms. Thorne. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you. You can log off, Mr. De Leon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We heard back from Mr. Oh, there he is, Keith. There's Keith. We got you and Mr. Casanova in the same place?
Yes, they're having trouble viewing the documents through their phone. Apparently there's some kind of problem, and Mr. Casanova has asked me to arrange an in-person hearing.
Okay, let me back up. I apologize. I missed some of that. Mr. Casanova wants to go to inpatient, like drug alcohol rehabilitation.
No, Your Honor, what he's asking for is that they do an in-person plea where he can go and fill out the paperwork there at the courthouse.
Okay, we can't do that.
Oh,
Supreme Court of the United States of Texas says we can't do that.
okay.
So I suggest that you can go to your office and both of you be there at the same time, and he can help him fill out paperwork or however else you would like to do that.
Okay, well, we can't do it today.
That's fine.
All right.
Okay, and I told you that the next plea date was the 27th. You said that was not possible, so the next one after that would be February 3rd at 2.
All right, let me back up. Everybody slow down just a second. Right now, where is Mr. Casanova?
He's in a breakout room.
He's in a breakout room, so he's on Zoom with it. Why can't you help him do his paperwork on Zoom today?
I have been trying. And he's very frustrated, and he's just, they're having trouble seeing things through their cell phones. So he asked me to see if I could arrange to do an in-person hearing. He's used to that.
Okay, is he on Zoom on his cell phone right now? Is that how that works?
Yes.
All right, can you bring him back with us so all of us can talk?
Hold on, Your Honor. I'll bring him in. I may have to join. He's not getting the message to join the main. So let me go in.
Are you still going into your office, Keith?
I work from my house, Your Honor.
Well, you may be exactly right. And what we need to do is just reset this for a time when you're available and he's available to go meet you at your office, and then we'll go from there. I don't know what else to do unless you got a better idea.
I'm thinking.
Are you having problems communicating with this gentleman?
It's difficult to understand him sometimes, but I think that's more because of his phone.
The courthouse itself is physically open, so I guess if y'all need, y'all could Zoom from the courthouse and meet up and fill out the paperwork, and you and him.
I think Pat actually has a Zoom computer monitor thing set up in the courtroom that you could go down and meet him in the courtroom and do it perhaps. We'll have to ask Pat.
That might work.
Pat, do you still have the capability of having an attorney and a defendant meet in our courtroom and do it from there?
Your Honor, I have done it in the past. I can do it. There's normally only one, so it's very easy. I have an extra laptop. I put them in the courtroom, get it set up, and then I go into my office and to mine there. So we're far away if worse comes to worse. That's up to you.
Well, Keith, is that something that would work better for you than trying to use your office?
I think so.
Okay.
I actually would, well, it's kind of up to him. I mean, he's not going to want to use his cell phone. And he seems to prefer the courthouse.
Mr. Casanova, I'm Judge Christian. Here's what we're trying to come up with is a plan where you and your attorney can be face to face so he can help you fill out the paperwork. A lot of that's very confusing, and I certainly understand that you need somebody there to answer any question you might have. Would it work for you if we reset this for some future day and you met your attorney in our courtroom downtown?
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Mr. Engelke, you want to go in a breakout room with Mr. Casanova, or maybe just talk to him right now about a date that would be good for both of you? Normally we do this on Thursdays, but we could do it on a Wednesday if we had to.
Because I got some medical appointments too, Judge.
Wednesday at 10 a.m., like 10 to 12, somewhere in there, or on Thursdays from 2 to 5, somewhere in there.
It's better 2 to 5 for me.
On Thursday?
The next one we have would be next Thursday, right, Pat?
Yes, sir. Next Thursday, the 27th or February 3rd. It's up to them.
Would the January 27th work for you, Keith?
I think so.
That's next Thursday. Mr. Casanova, would next Thursday work for you?
The 3rd would work better for me, Judge. The 3rd.
The 3rd? All right. Mr. Engelke, would the 3rd work for you?
Yes, it would.
All right. How about February the 3rd, which is a Thursday, I guess? I'm not looking that far ahead.
Yes, Your Honor.
And y'all meet in our courtroom, which is County Court of Law number 6, which is on the 2nd floor of the Justice Center. And Pat will have arranged to have a monitor in the courtroom so y'all can do Zoom from there together. And then you can get your questions answered, and we won't make any mistakes, and it'll all be wonderful.
With you, Judge, it's always wonderful.
And what time? You want to do that? You want to just meet down there at 2 o'clock or at 1:30 or whatever?
Your Honor, if they get there pretty that way, they have time to go over the paperwork, and we can then scan it to you so that you can sign and have the paperwork available to you.
Okay. So what time do you want them to meet in the courtroom?
1:30. I will probably be there all day.
Mr. Angle, is that okay with you?
It is, Your Honor.
Is that okay with you, Mr. Casanova?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you guys meet with Pat at 1:30 next Thursday. I'm sorry, Thursday, the 3rd of February, 2 Thursdays from now. And then we'll get this done, okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. Thanks, Mr. Casanova.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. May all be excused.
You betcha. Thank you.